Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. It's a howling adventure full of mystery, monsters, and pizza.
I like that.
Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. Look for it on video cassette and DVD.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
There are a lot of Scooby-Doo shows and movies, and if I really wanted to, I could probably talk about each one in great length. But with Halloween somewhat near, I figured now would be the best time to take a look at one of the entries that I feel best matches the season. To my knowledge, Goblin King may be the only Scooby-Doo movie actually set on Halloween, but I didn't grow up with that one, so Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf it is. Reluctant Werewolf was a made-for-TV movie that aired in 1988 as part of the Funtastic World of Hanna-Barbera. For those of you not in the know, the Funtastic World of Hanna-Barbera was a programming block from the mid-80s to mid-90s. Think of it as the original Boomerang, airing Hanna-Barbera shows both old and new at the time.
The Fantastic World of Hanna-Barbera is on the air! Fantastic!
I bring this up because Reluctant Werewolf was actually only one of 3 Scooby-Doo movies to be released around that time, the other 2 being Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers and Scooby-Doo and the Ghoul School. You know, the one with the underage monster girls that Tumblr liked to fetishize in the before times. One could certainly question the quality of these movies, but what made them fun is that they would take the trio of Shaggy, Scooby, and Scrappy and put them in a setting where they'd come in contact with real ghosts and monsters. Many people like to credit Zombie Island for starting the trend, and while 13 Ghosts was actually the series that started the whole real ghost thing, Zombie Island was able to take the threat much more seriously, and I think that's what makes it stand out from these made-for-TV movies. And on the topic of Scrappy, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I don't really mind him. Alright, enough of that. What is this movie about? Well, Dracula is hosting the annual Monster Road Rally, only for the Wolfman to retire. Needing a replacement, Dracula sends out his 2 henchmen, the Hunch Bunch, to turn Shaggy into a werewolf and bring him back in time for the race. There's this whole racing aspect of this film that has never been part of Scooby-Doo before. Right as it begins, the movie just kind of throws you into a race that Red Shirt Shaggy is competing in. I guess you're just supposed to assume he has a career in racing now, which I'm fine with. The film also introduces a new character by the name of Googie, who is Shaggy's girlfriend. There's this weird thing you'll notice throughout the Scooby-Doo franchise where they're always trying to give Shaggy a love interest. Alien Invaders was probably the best they handled the idea. And while I love Mystery Incorporated, it's probably best just to forget the whole Velma-Shaggy relationship thing was ever attempted. The addition of Googie seems like a fun idea at first, but throughout the film you really start to realize that she's no more than a plot device. There's a big race towards the end, and the film needed someone who could drive to help Shaggy get out of these tight situations, and that's pretty much all she's there to do. It would have been nice to see her return later in the series with some sort of attempt to give her more to do, but that never happened, and I'm not entirely sure why. Scooby-Doo is like this vast chasm of potential where the creators just always fail to utilize the lore. That's just how it's always been. Going back to the whole monster race thing, this movie focuses heavily on classic monsters, and that's kind of what makes it worth staying for. The races at the end are done in kind of a Wacky Races-esque style, and each monster gets their own vehicle with different functions. It makes me wish Hot Wheels had some kind of tie-in with this movie, because those are toys that I want to own. In terms of quality, the film's not the best, but I tend not to set my expectations too high when it comes to Scooby-Doo. The animation itself is decent. There will be a potential error here and there, but in terms of 80s cartoons, it holds up pretty well. There are little things about the story that just makes no sense, but like I said, it's best not to set your expectations too high with Scooby-Doo. Chances are most fans know what they're getting into. And back to the monsters being the most fun part, I think Dracula is the real highlight here. Not every joke he makes lands. In fact, most of them are as corny as jokes come. But there's plenty of slapstick involving his character, and anytime he got hurt, I chuckled.
Can one of you fools release the cable on the car?
cartoon violence will always be funny. That's just the undeniable truth. As far as like big problems I have with this movie, I will say that pacing actually is an issue. At 90 minutes, Reluctant Werewolf is surprisingly one of the longer Scooby-Doo movies. Reluctant Werewolf has a pretty good pace at first, but once the race starts towards the end, it starts to drag on. It's still watchable, especially considering how short the film is, but I think it goes to show that Scooby-Doo works best when it sticks to the formula, as opposed to trying to be something it's not. Reluctant Werewolf would actually be the last appearance of Scrappy-Doo, at least until the live-action film.
Oh god, he's peeing on me!
And I can't forget the countless jokes made at his expense.
Well, I guess the gang's all here. Except Scrappy.
What's a Scrappy?
It's really unfortunate to me that this was his last movie for a while. I feel both Boo Brothers and Ghoul School found a way to utilize his character without him being so annoying, mainly because they had him act as a level-headed replacement to characters like Fred, Daphne, and Velma. He just kind of takes a backseat in this film though. Googie seems to be the one doing most of the work here. But it's whatever. I may not hate Scrappy like everyone else does, but I don't really mind him being gone either. So what is my overall consensus on Reluctant Werewolf? Well, it's a Scooby-Doo movie, and based off that, I think you'll already know whether or not you'll like it. Is it good? Not really, but I grew up watching it, so I kind of have more of a connection to it. It has a strong Halloween-esque vibe to it, and I think that kind of makes it the perfect movie to put on in the background at a Halloween party while completely ignoring it. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick video, and I wish all of you a happy Halloween. Bye.